man.
Boom, boom.
Well, we've only got the one item on the agenda, so. All right, so we're here to talk about the contract with Eric. So I'm going to turn some time over to Richard. Richard has done quite a bit of research for us.
I reached out. I know a few of the mayors around Emory and Carbon, well, Emory County. So I reached out to Leonard Norton. I reached out to Danny Van Wagner. I reached out to, I never can say her name. She just lost the mayorship in Monticello. Bailey College. Yeah, Bailey. That's it. I reached out to them and asked them what they pay for their city attorneys. Danny Van Wagner said basically he goes through, is it Citron here? But he will only do certain things, and then they deal with a woman in Salt Lake, and he didn't give me her name. Her basic rate is $220 an hour, and she starts charging you the minute you contact or ask or whatever. I talked to Leonard Norton. I talked to him again today. He said their basic rate is about $185. And again, I think it's the same one. He said he thinks it's the same one that Danny uses, but they don't give them a break on anything. Travel time, pay time, anything. I couldn't get Bailey. I tried the mayor in Richfield. That was like trying to pull teeth, trying to get an answer. It was funny because nobody would disclose that. I talked to the people in Castledale. Now, they've had a major snafu, and they didn't go into full details, but basically they are paying off a bill that's around, I want to say, close to $160,000, $175,000 for maybe as much as they would tell me. Again, it's crazy how people are. Anyway, they're thinking 8 to 10 hours of work. They think this attorney is way overbilling them. So they're in a fight over how many hours, what they're billing for, that kind of thing. And they would not go into it at all, hardly at all. So I couldn't get a cost on that. What they did tell me was if it was me, them as a mayor, they would take what Eric's offering and run with it, because they don't feel like we can get anything cheaper, and if we put it out on an RFP, we're going to get more. So that's what I found out.
Okay, so I would love to say something. So, I don't think the increase is as big of, well, I do think $30 an hour increase is like a stab to people because they start thinking of staffing issues, things like that, everything else. I don't think that's the biggest concern though. For me, the bigger concern was it was being pushed through on a consent agenda before we discussed it. It was $130 to $160 an hour. The contract was ending, so we're trying to push through an extension without talking about it. And so for me, I mean, even if we didn't, I do think putting out an RFP could really risk it. He could up his price, plus he could just say, you know what, it's not worth dealing with. I think he's been good to us, so I see that value. But I do think that it's also fair to have a contract with him, not just an extension. And I think it really needs to be clarified in his verbiage. In his letter, it says COLA raises, and nobody wants to address that. And I want to know, what is that? Is it incremental? Are we talking $30 an hour at once? Can we do it incrementally over the years? Can we, and these COLA things, are they incremental, and what are we looking at? Those were my big concerns.
And I think we can address that.
So,
and I think one of the things we want to get away from is these putting something off, trying to keep things as cheap as they can until one day we got to do this.
That's how property
Yeah.
taxes happened here. That's how, I get that. They don't-
Right,
That's how
and
things-
we don't want to do that.
We
So
don't
we
wanna
do
do
want
that.
to build something in that we can budget and can control the costs, so that we're doing that on a regular basis. And I think that there's no problem in putting that in place in the contract that we approve.
Well, and I think to that point, that's why we do a contract, and we say, here's the amount for whatever term, and that's a contract. And I think that both parties can say, yeah, we want to modify this contract, but if we were to do the increase, I believe the contract has a 3-year extension clause, and so we could say, okay, 3 years, but that to put in a COLA in there would really modify the contract. That would be like entering in a new contract. And so that kind of is a little weird. And then to your point, Mayor, like, well, if we're trying to keep this cost low, at the end of that 3 years, if we extend it, then we have to go out for bid, and then it could be whatever it is. So I think that there's just a lot of unknowns here. We do know that the outside services could be
Could be higher.
$10,000 an hour, according
Who
to
knows?
Castle Dale or
Yeah,
whatever.
well, Castle Dale evidently really screwed up. I mean, they wouldn't even talk about it. They just, it was quite the discussion I had with the person I had was almost like pulling teeth to try to get any information out of them because
Sure.
they had messed up so bad.
But I think like when we go out for bid for a service, ideally we get the market rate.
Right.
And so 4 years and 10 months ago, the market rate was whatever it was, $100, 100 and something, and then it was increased to $130 in the last go around before this term was up, and now we have another $30 increase. And so in my mind, approving this, perhaps it's justified. I think the services are good. But we're deviating from the contract, and so what can we expect over the next 3 years? Are we going to get another request every year? Is this going to be it for 3 years? It's hard to predict the future, which is why we enter a contract in the first place.
So are you suggesting that instead of maybe looking at a 3-year extension, we enter into a new contract?
Well, I have heartburn with that too, because we should go out for an RFP. If we're going to
we're
throw
gonna
out
do
the
the
contract
contract, we
and
should do an
have a new
RFP.
contract, then okay.
But he does have, there is that exclusion that he could have, that there is a 3-year extension option.
Mhm.
So how do we handle that?
Well, and the way I see that is like, okay, we go through 5 years. If we're happy with his services, if he's happy with his pay or whatever, great, we extend it for 3 more years. If one of us is not happy with that, then we end the contract on good terms and try something different.
So in that 3-year period, and we go ahead and we do his rate increase that he's suggesting, that he's requesting,
The hourly rate.
and the hourly rate that he's requesting, how do we address that COLA verbiage?
I have a
I think that to put like a COLA or an annual increase like deviates from the contract.
Yeah.
And like to change that substantially, like we should start over.
Right.
And next time we do it, put in like, okay, are you anticipating
yeah.
And I agree
A
with
rate
that. But in
increase.
that letter, it was very clearly stated that that's, so I want to really make sure that we're clear with him on what that means in his letter. Because that's what he is proposing. That's what I'm saying.
right. I do think if we go out for a bid, it's not like if we were to buy a truck or a pipe, because different people supply those things, and we just put that out. The person who has the same item for the lowest price gets the contract from the city.
Right.
With services, it's not that way. We do take cost into account, but we also look at other things too and say, okay, they have an intimate knowledge, they've got experience and whatever, so that better services, so we're willing to pay a little bit higher than the low bid on services to get the better services. So we do have wiggle room like that in our purchasing policy.
Right, and I totally agree with that.
And one thing that they did all tell me, that none of them don't charge them for travel time. Not one.
I think he's been really good
He's
to
been
us.
very
I really
good.
do. I think he's been good to us. And
Right.
I would like to try and extend with him, but how do we do it where it's fair
Yes.
to the residents, to the city, to everybody, not just to him? We need to make sure that it's fair.
Well, I think that's why we're talking about it, is after the research, we realized that it's probably going to be one of the fairest contracts we're going to find. The services that we got before, in between
Nick and
Nick and
Eric. we could all
were
really pay
subpar.
for.
We could not get an answer. We could not, I mean, we get charged, but we would wait. We would submit. We need information. How do we proceed on that? We would wait weeks and weeks, and then if we got something back, it would be, well, you could go this way, or you could go this way, or you could go this
You
way,
pretty much made your own decision.
but I'm not going to tell you which of those three to choose, which is not what we needed.
Right.
We needed
We
assistance,
counseled.
which is why we put it out to bid and ended up with Eric. So that concerns me. That, I mean, you're right. If we got the same person bidding again that we terminated the contract with, we wouldn't have to take them. But we also run the risk that if we put it out to bid and Eric knows he's bidding against people that are bidding higher, we're going to be even higher than
Well,
we are now. So, I
and
mean,
he could be
that's
offended. He could feel like he's provided us a good service. He hasn't raised his rates, in this period of time, and so I can see that as well. My concern isn't that. My concern is, are we being fair in our policies to other people and to what we want to maintain? But where there's that inclusion of the potential 3 years, that at least protects us from that.
right.
One thing I just want to put on the record is, so my wife is an attorney and has absolutely zero interest in
Okay.
this type of
Well,
stuff.
it would be, she already works for us in a,
She
in
told us,
a
I'm not
public
going
defender.
to do it.
Workforce in another way.
yeah, she does.
A
And
direct
that's
quote.
not,
But,
Yeah.
but it's in, I mean, so realistically, so we didn't get any bids on our, we're hoping we can go to the county and,
Nick said that the county did say they would.
nobody bid on our criminal work. And every attorney, including Kendra, is like, she's a public defender. She does public defender work, which we contract with the county because we could get more grant money that way. That was the only way that the state would give more grant money, is if we all collaborated together, and it's working fantastic. But all of the attorneys are tied up with county work, so likely we wouldn't get anybody local that would bid on it. And even the county has to use attorneys from up north because they don't have enough attorneys. It's a tough situation.
That's my assessment as well.
And there aren't that many that do that type of
No,
work. That's
no,
the
and
other
it's
problem.
specific. It's a lot different.
That's-
We've learned that with.
And a direct quote from Kendra is that I would rather gouge my eyes out than do
Municipal work.
municipal work. Okay.
Well, there we go.
It is different. It's
Yeah.
not the same.
Sounds like something she would say, right?
Yes.
Well, we're not, we cannot make a decision in this meeting. We don't need to know where your votes are. We need to just make sure that you've talked it through, that you can make an informed decision when we go into council.
Right.
And we can have, when it comes onto the thing, you can have a bit of time to bring anything to discussion in front of the public that you want. So this is not a,
So Tanner, what's your feel on it?
Just hearing from what Richard gathered, it kind of puts my mind at ease that he's being pretty fair with us. I feel like he's been great with the past issues we've dealt with as a council last year, and he was always here and pretty much like face to face. So
Can I ask a question about
Yeah.
being always here?
yeah,
Only reason I'm asking this because that's billable hours. Was he here sometimes when he didn't need to be here? And I'm not saying he came on his own.
yeah.
Okay.
I think I think every time he was here, we had a reason.
There was a reason.
But
Okay.
but to that point though, Richard, is you have to be aware and get awareness of when do I need to call?
Yeah.
What do I need him? How much do I need? So, for example, a lot of times, like, make sure I get good at this. He'll write the resolution. He'll write the contract. If I'm trying to research something, I'll like do all the research in the code, and I've got it all, and then I'll be like, okay, I don't know if I got to double check to make sure. But you've done all the research, or with miles, with water, like. You can control those costs.
Yeah.
Like, don't call in for every
Don't
little
get-
thing.
don't get in there for
but
stuff,
on that
for
that
fluff.
point though, if you do call, I get the bills, I look at them, and I'll be like, oh, he didn't bill me for that. Like, so he doesn't bill just like, okay, the time's ticking. Like, there, he's and also when you call, you talk to him. You don't talk to the secretary and leave a message and.
Well, I think we've established that
Yeah.
he's valuable
Okay.
and that we'd like to keep him. I think the big issue is the contract, isn't it? At this point.
I mean, the city did it before, raised his
Yeah.
fee, but I anticipate, like, it doesn't make sense to raise it, we're 6 weeks now before the end of the contract, or 2 months, whatever. It doesn't make sense to raise that fee for 2 months.
No,
He's not,
Right.
it's not.
It's
no
July.
real raise
It won't start
for
till
this
July.
beginning
Yeah, he wanted to give us
year.
enough
This
time
is-
to factor
This
in our
current one goes through
budget.
June.
So that's anticipating that we extend the contract.
Right.
Right.
So is that a separate decision than what's today? Is
Because
to
he's
extend the
contracted
contract or
through
not?
June. So his current contract, isn't it through June?
I
Yes.
think it was to redo the contract for the next fiscal
Yeah,
year of
right.
July.
Right.
I
So
think it was
right.
July.
So
Yeah,
we
it
can
was
budget
move forward.
for this year. He's trying to, the reason he's come is so that it can be budgeted in. If we have to go out for bid, we need to hurry up and do it because it'll have to get budgeted in as
Right.
well.
So this is for a 1-year extension of the contract at a higher rate, not the full 3 years.
No, I think it's the
It's the
3 years.
3 years.
The
It's
three
for 3 years at
Okay.
the higher rate.
But
Okay.
my heartburn was that COLA word in his letter. And so, okay, well, when are we
Where's
talking
that?
about every year we're going to increase again? $30 an hour is a big jump. Whether it's a good price or not, it's still a big jump.
Yeah.
And then what's next year going to look like? What's the next year going to look like? I think those are valid concerns that still need to be addressed with him.
Right, because, okay, I have some confidence, okay, we approved the $30 jump for the next 3 years.
Mhm.
Well, is that really for the next 3 years, or is it until next year when we
we
have another
when
request for another
request
$30 or
for COLA.
something
Well,
like
my
that?
question is, so
Are we
let's say he makes a
contracted?
request. What if we say no?
Mhm.
We don't have the money. He's under contract for 3 years. Whether he gets a COLA raise or not. But we'd have to look at that language.
His
See what it
request says in there specifically no COLA raise, so that needs to be addressed before we can make a decision. We
Well,
have
if
to
he's
know,
only
is he
getting a
tell-
1.7% like I get, a
Yeah.
COLA raise. Won't be that bad.
I just kind of Googled COLA in Utah. It says based on the CPI, these adjustments often 2.5 to 4%, which on 116 hours is anywhere $4 to $6.50 an hour. So I don't know if we
And that's the
stipulate in the
standard.
contract.
We talked about those in personnel committee also. And even like the state doesn't go above 2.5% for COLA raises.
So that's where.
We can approve this without the COLA. And then that can be something that can be dealt with if there's going to be COLA raises, then we're gonna have to just renegotiate the whole contract.
I'm not okay approving or agreeing to something that's not fully understood. Me personally. So
put in there
Unless it's
16 an hour
contingent
for
upon, but
year 26, 27, and then we put in the year 27, 28 for the $3 to $6 an hour.
we don't know what he's requesting. He just said.
We
and it
don't know
doesn't-
what he's requesting for COLA, but we know
Right.
what he's requesting per hour. So if we
Right.
kind of stipulate the COLA amounts, then it's set for those 3 years, and it's set in stone.
I'd
This
have
contract
heartburn
won't change.
setting 2.5, 3 or 4% COLA when our employees are getting 1.7% COLA. I am not gonna be okay with that. And so if we gave a set amount, like, additional $5 or an additional this or that, but if we make it a percentage, we're gonna have people not happy.
You'd accept the percentage we get? Based on?
Well, what do we do? What do we do with the dispatch contract then? Because we're paying for the state's dispatch. Whatever they get, we pay it. So are we going to say no? We're not going to pay you dispatch because we pay for the wages of the dispatchers who are state employees. But we have to do that now. We have to pay for Brussels, the water, because the feds aren't paying. So now we have to. Our taxpayers have to. Our water ratepayers are going to have to pay that. It's all. And the county contract is going to come back with the. It's what, 1.5% a year now, and I'm sure it'll go up. So every year of that contract, that's going to increase. So do we want him just to state in that what the escalation is?
Yeah, I think that.
Because that's what they do.
clarified.
May I say something about that?
That's
Just
what they
two
do.
things I want to
Sure.
say. The first is, I first want to commend you that I am so ecstatic to see you guys having a conversation about something that's just on a consent agenda. I think it's great that you guys are asking those questions and having this conversation. It's actually quite refreshing to see. So kudos to you for that. But my next quick thing I would say is, like, right now, I'm missing a cop. We're about to miss someone else in my department. And I'm trying really hard. I'm overworked. And I'm not talking, I came here because everyone else in my administration's gone somewhere. But I'm just telling you my perspective is like all these other people that get contracted work out. And everybody has no, I just wish that we had that same urgency for our full-time employees. Because we sit here and talk about how, like, whether you keep a police department, a road department, a dispatch department, if you don't like those prices, then you'll do it yourself. And if you get a good deal, then you get a good deal and take it and run with it. But at the same time, when I have somebody telling me that they're leaving and going to go make more money, and I'm on spread thin, it gives, as an employee, I think it gives
Well,
us the
I want you
heartburn.
to know that employee salaries right now have the same urgency with all of us in this room. It is a constant conversation. So it is, we get it.
Yeah.
We hear you, and we are working toward it. So it is not less than.
Well, I
It's-
know, but when we talk about what I'm talking about, though, is with her comment with, like, all these other contracted things, we're rushing to deal with those because of that same thing, and I go, but I think that same argument can be made for all around, not just the contract.
No, but I mean, it's a part of the, like, if he didn't state it that way, the cost of doing business goes up. It goes up for us. It goes up for everybody. And we could go without the service, but then does that put us, what risk does that put us at if we don't have it?
Puts us in a bad
Right.
place.
But I
So
think
does
what
that
Sean is
gonna
saying is what
cost
Mr. we
us-
have police officers keep quitting too.
Right. I mean,
There's a valid argument here, and the contracted employees, we kind of can't help that. If the state
right,
mandates a
right.
certain thing, that's
And
what
it's
they
and we
mandate.
fought that for
So we have
years.
to do that.
I
But,
know. And that's always been our argument. Like, we can't get one. Why do we have to pay yours?
And we do.
And it keeps the more mandates without a way to fund.
And we
the
continue
mandates.
to fight those and try
Right.
and find ways, because those are taking money away from the things that we need to do, the people we need to take care of as well. We get that, and it frustrates us, and we're very vocal. I'm vocal to all our state representatives about why are you taking this? Why are you taking 12% or 10, is it 10 or 12% of our sales tax to send it up north for homeless services
That's
that
30
we can
grand
no
and
longer
it'll go up
afford to
again this
provide, that we can no longer
Yeah, I was just
afford to
saying
have.
those taxes.
And I get, oh, because you're sending them all up there. And I said, no, we're not. They're coming here. They're coming back. They're being sent here. I get that. I know. We see them. You see them. So we are fighting for that. So the urgency is there. It's one of the reasons I'm sitting in this chair is because of that urgency. So you need to know it's not a secondary thing. But all of this we have to put all of this in place. We can't. I wish we could stop all one to take care of the other, but it just keeps coming at you. It just keeps coming at you every day.
I would see if he could do it as first ask the question, is this the cost for the whole 3 years? Or if it will increase, can you put an escalation in it? Because like I said, that's how the county contract has worked. It's
Okay, so I
started at this, and then we knew, it was all spelled out, what it would be every year.
Or is it incremental, $10 an hour per year, or is it
Well, that's
just a
what she's saying.
one-time jump?
Right,
Yes, I
yeah,
agree.
so
Yeah.
that's the way, so we could ask him if he could do it
Well,
Like-
is he gonna be here
like
tonight?
that.
no, he's not going to be here tonight.
So I guess that's a question you have
So,
to ask him.
it-
Like if you could, that would be easy.
See if I can
Well,
get it.
and yeah, to that point, okay, I think I could get behind, all right, the cost of doing business is higher, and I get it, it's a good deal relatively speaking. But is this it for the 3 years, or can we expect
can
more?
we
So
expect
if this is it for 3 years, and that's our contract that we're gonna stick with for the rest of the time, okay, I could get behind that. But it's that uncertainty.
The uncertainty is what at this point, that's the big issue for me.
And so I think we could probably, I would feel comfortable making a motion to say, okay, here's the condition on approving this contract, so long as
These are spelled out.
that it's this rate for the duration of the 3 years. And he's the attorney, he can fix the contract, right? And
Yeah, that's what
make
he's
it say
supposed to do, right?
Make it say what was approved.
I guess he's on that.
I could agree with that.
So if that's the case, then we could table this one more meeting and get those answers from him. Because unless I can get them before the meeting.
So do we make a motion, or we just?
You'll make a
move
No,
on
motion to table it
it's just-
until next meeting.
Yeah, we'll make a
It has
motion
to
to
be
table it
specific.
again.
We are limiting our time on putting out an RFP. By doing that, that's why we had this
Well, we put a motion to,
new meeting today.
we table it until city council at 5:30.
Yeah, we did.
Well, no, we're not tabling anything in here. We're not making
We're
any
not
motions.
making
Oh, I
decisions,
see.
we don't
No,
know.
it would be, it's going to come up on the city council agenda, so if you don't have the answers, we table it.
Table until the next meeting. Till we get more answers. Or you could,
We approve it with
So
the
his-
caveat,
with the caveat.
and if he agrees, then great,
Okay.
we move on.
Do that.
And if not, then we
Then
go back
we
to the table.
go back to
Yep.
the table.
Yep.
So
Okay.
on February 13th, his letter said, respected officials, for a second time in as many years, we've had an attorney lead our full-time ranks. With that transition, we've done a market survey and found that our rates to our clients on our pay scale have fallen behind market changes occurring over the last 5 to 7 years. We need to increase our rates. We propose to increase them, so this is proposed, to increase them to $160 per hour beginning July 1st, 2026. Our rate for bond counsel and other specialty services will also increase. We hope this gives your community time to adjust your budget. We need to implement an annual cost of living for future years, each to take place on July 1st. If you have concerns about these amendments to our engagement, please let me know. So that's the letter that we got with that. So he is saying annual, but is he saying after the 3 years, or is he saying after this year and beginning July 1st of 2027? That's not clarified.
Sounds to me like it's,
Sounds like he
Each
wants it
year
every
is
year.
July.
That this year, we're going to take the big jump, and then each year it's going to incrementally go higher. And so, and he's also raising the rates on bond counsel, and specialty services will also increase, and that's not really clarified either, so we don't know what that would be.
Well, that's going to come out of your bond,
that just-
and that's low. I'll tell you that right now,
Okay.
because it's like $3,000, and like the states is over 10. We pay for that, so
Well,
and that
and
comes
I-
out of your bond. That's covered out of the project, the bond proceeds that you get.
Okay,
So that comes out of there. That's paid out of there.
all right.
But I can tell you he's right. That's low, because when you see his part of it compared to the state's attorneys, it's low.
So is he?
I kind of like what you said, Russell. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're
Karen.
fine, Richard. Because he says, and we need. Stupid. And we need to implement an annual cost of living adjustment for future years, each to take place July 1st. Is that
I think that
saying?
that's
Is that kind of
something that we
giving
can
us
set.
the ability?
It's
to set?
negotiable. Yeah, is it negotiable or not?
Well, I think the fact that he didn't state any name, I
Percentage,
think
right?
that he's leaving that in us. So we could,
Set that to what we give our employees, or I don't know.
Well, it's not specified for sure, though, then you run the risk of having someone having an argument to say, you breached our contract.
That's why it's saying up to the employee COLA, your limit.
I think that's fair.
I think that would.
I mean, even though he's not really an employee, he's a contracted employee.
Yeah.
So it is different. He doesn't get full-time wages, he doesn't get benefits, he doesn't, so it could be handled a little differently, but I think it's fair, and I think it looks more fair for our employees when they're seeing this, and they're seeing these increases, and it hurts, and it jabs. I think keeping it the same COLA rates that we would determine for our own employees, I think is fair. Now, theirs is an annual COLA. Would we take his last year and base it off that, or would we base it off of his hourly? How would we base that COLA?
well,
Lisa?
What's that?
so you're saying just take his current rate and give him a COLA versus taking
Well,
his
the whole
new
thing
rate
is,
proposed.
you're not giving
No,
him a.
Okay.
He's just
We don't
saying,
wanna
I
say
need to
anything.
factor
Okay,
in.
we're talking about future
Yes,
years.
stating it would be off the.
I need to factor that into my billing, because we're not. He's trying to do the same thing we're trying to do. Like his weight, he's saying, we went out and looked. We did a market to see what other attorneys were charging and wages and whatever. And so we're not technically giving him a COLA. It's just his costs have. So, for example, when the state changed what's a misdemeanor drug charge and what's a felony, Nick Sampinos came and he said, I don't want to ask for more money, but this is all I do now, because what used to be processed by the county now was processed by the city. And so he was like, I don't want to ask for more money, but I don't have any time to do my private practice. So he asked, and it was significant, because now he was having to absorb those costs. So, we had to look at that, and it wasn't fair to him he can no longer pay for his bill, because he was our city attorney, but he had to pay his own rent, he had to pay his staff, and so, we had to look at that. So I think that's all Eric's saying here. It's not like you're giving me a COLA, it's just his costs are increasing that he has to pay, because, he has other attorneys who work on our stuff, and he has a business to run, and so I think that's the thing. We're not like giving him personally a COLA. It's just his business costs are increasing. So I think it's the same.
But it doesn't change the fact that you can go, well, this year.
No,
my
so that's what I'm
secretary to
saying.
do this, I want a 3% raise
Should we
in
look
COLA
at
raises.
have him do, like kind of how that is, because that's what they've factored in. It's like, costs are going to increase, and they do. They're ever increasing. I mean, benefits go up. Like you don't know. 1 year is 14%, 1 year is 6%. So, you build that into your costs. So.
Yeah.
But for comparison, if like how I was saying, you can control that. So his first year was in 22. So that year, rightfully so, probably we used him more. It was 44,000. The next year it was 38,000. I'm not sure when the last increase was that went up, but then 24 it actually went down to 17,000. Last year was 21,000. So it just depends on how much we use him. Whether it's obviously some years we're going to have more situations that arise that we have to, but it is controllable on if you're just calling for every little thing or.
So if we did a COLA, would we base it off of like his last year's annual, or would we try and base it off of his hourly? How would we do that?
Well, I don't know because I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's not paying him. I don't know what his costs are to run his business. I mean, I would just have him say, what do you anticipate the the escalation to be per year?
But I think bringing back to like the situation, that's why we go out for a contract to hire a contractor. Is like, okay, you take care of all of this nitty gritty stuff. Give us a price that you can handle for the next 3 years, so that we can have some certainty, so that we can put something in our budget and move on. So to have a moving target is.
I would just do what we just had to do with the county. Like nobody bid, so we had to go to the county and we had to sit down at the table and we had to negotiate. And hopefully we can come to, because then what are we going to do if we don't have that? Then we're going to be.
I think it's negotiable.
So
I think it's
I think that's just,
with them.
and I'm sure he'd be open to that. I don't think he's not going to be open to that. So I
Well, just an
would
idea.
just negotiate with him to
Like
see.
if we took his last year's wages, 21,000, and we did 2.5%, it's only $525 increase. So if you look at it that way, that's not a huge increase. If we proposed.
And he
to
could
him
raise his rate,
the
and that
same
may
kind of
be
COLA.
less, depending on what
Right. Yeah.
the overall cost. But the criminal and the public defender are far more expensive than the civil part of that. That's where our major expense is in legal fees, is criminal and public defender.
So if we could lower the number of criminals we have in the city.
If you could have the judges
There you go,
to.
get on
then
that
we
rest.
would.
They're doing their
I'll
best.
remain
I know that.
Exercising that right.
Job security target.
Yeah.
So my understanding, like, I don't know on the COLA, but just kind of putting it down at a 1.7, year 2 would be 162.72 an hour. If that's kind of what we did, we just told them for your COLA, we'll raise you to the 162.72
Well,
for year 2, 165.48 for year 3. I don't know if that's the way I understand it, but I don't know.
Well, sounds like we need to have a
Because
conversation with
that's
them and see.
comparable to them.
And in the last meeting, you said you were going to contact them. So, have we had any contact yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. All right.
So you have 3 options. We'll put it up for vote the way it is. You can vote, it will either pass or fail.
Right.
We can table this with a date, which would be next meeting. I think those are your 2 options. The
Or,
third one was like, putting it,
well,
not pass.
I think Russell had an idea
Or you can pass it with a modification.
with the caveat that said that we need to put this is something that's negotiable, and we need to sit down and work that out.
So approve it with what, a contingency?
Oh, what did you say?
So we just say we're approving this contract
Subject.
$160,000, and that's it for 3 years.
No,
Or
no, I don't have that.
You don't get to make the motion.
sorry,
No.
make the motion. But if we say here it is, and that's what it is. And I mean, we're trying to negotiate with somebody who's not here, and so either he accepts it, and great, we move on, or he says, hey, no, let's put it back on the agenda to redo this next time. Which puts us at the same point as tabling it, I think.
Yeah.
Or you could do what Lisa suggests and direct staff and the mayor to meet with him
And negotiate,
and negotiate a new.
or, find out what that specifically,
More clear
yeah.
contract.
We already voted on that last meeting that she would do that.
Mhm.
And you come back on the 8th of April.
Yeah, then we table it.
It's clear by that time.
I'll wait till the next meeting.
Have a clear contract written.
Now, waiting that long and waiting another 2 weeks, we risk him saying, bag it, and we don't have time to put an RFP out, and to try, or we have less time to be able to look at other options.
You put your RFP out, you go through the process, and for the time, if his contract ends before it's done, you work with that attorney for that amount of time. That's your other option.
Well, I anticipate that we're close on the negotiations,
I do
and so
too.
I don't think that he would walk away.
Well, at the end.
We're not negotiating his price at all. The only thing we want to do is clarify
The contract.
the contract for the
Yes.
3 years.
Yes, which is fine, because
And I think that's reasonable.
And right at the end, he does say that if you have concerns about these amendments to our engagement, please let me know. So I think he's open for discussion.
And I'm not balking the increase just because of the other information that we have. So I'm not balking the amount. And I just, I definitely want to clarify so we don't have any hidden surprises that come up. And I don't think he's trying to have hidden surprises. I just want to make sure that we're clear on it before we vote on anything. All right.
Okay.
I'm good too.
Great.
All right, so it'll come up, and you guys decide what you want to do. So
Okay.
we have a few extra minutes, and we have Ron Dunn from Congressman Kennedy's office. We'll give a few minutes to talk.
Well, mostly I just wanted to come and get acquainted. I've been working in the county a lot last year and starting this year, along with Emery and those other two people, not quite so much. Because still, the folks are just nicer here. Besides that, we can read a population table. I have not come to any of the city-county meetings thus far before this one, although I've listened in on several. And I have been keeping track of what's going on around here. And I've been involved in some of the water discussions and the discussions around the flooding that we've had the last couple of years down here. And our office is very much aware of it. But I haven't met you. So that's why I decided to come here tonight. And mostly my message is, notwithstanding the change in lines on a map, we're still working the district and will continue to work the district
It's not ditching us.
until they drag us kicking and screaming
All right.
and plop us down in Tooele. So that's the number one thing. I do have some stuff, but you've had this going on quite a long time now, and I don't want to take a long time. But the mayor has my contact information. I have some cards I can hand out afterwards. Mostly, I'm just a bump on a log watching and listening today. But I appreciate all the work you do, and look forward to seeing great things.
Refund the Division of Water Quality so we don't have to pay that fee.
Don't do it.
I gotta give you a bad time, Russell.
That's fine. Everybody else does.
I'm just glad you're here so you're going to be able to explain it.
Yeah.
We've worked with our federal delegation, and there were some increases in federal funding, just not all of it. So
Yeah. And every day that goes by, it all becomes more and more expensive. We all
Yeah.
understand how that goes. It's
You
unfortunate.
guys all have to quit dipping down to the city level to fund everything, because we're just struggling to make it on our own.
Well, problem is, as somebody pointed out, I think a couple of somebody's maybe, when you get mandates and no money to pay for mandates, whether it comes from above the Payson-Dixon line or across the country, you know the joke about the Payson-Dixon line, right? Okay. You haven't heard it?
I have an idea.
It doesn't matter if the money isn't given. You just have to limp along and do the best you can.
Well, like you said, we're friendlier over here. So
Okay.
you should be thinking Carbon County when some of those funding options come up.
Hey,
Think Price City, Price City.
oh, I know.
Yeah, not Carbon County, Price City.
He's helping us look for funding on some of
Yeah,
the-
I appreciate
You got
him
the
taking
email
an
from the
interest.
ledge team.
Usually
I
doesn't
did.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt bad that they couldn't stretch the drought stuff to include carbon. But c'est la guerre. Any other questions? I've got a whole lot of ledge stuff if you want to hear about it.
Anything like, woohoo? We want to hear, really hear something
Bring
like
the spirits up.
Well, the SPEED Act kind of affects things around here. It's HR 4776. It's designed to speed up the NEPA process on water and energy infrastructure.
Oh, good.
Which
Yeah, that'll help us.
we get that through, and that could mean some good things.
we're almost done with the reservoir one.
Yeah.
Well,
Just the
we
start
got
of it.
we got the water line whole thing, so we could take it. We'll, yeah.
Yeah, we got plenty of
We have plenty
plenty of projects.
The rest of the water line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole rest of the water
Yep.
line.
I thought it would be a line out the canyon.
Yeah, another one that is a new one. I'm sure you've heard about the Fix Our Forests Act. We have a patch to that one to address the problem of jurisdictional lines on a map once again, where firefighters fighting the either foothills or up in the mountains fires, having to stop and wait for somebody to give permission to cross the line to chase the fire. It's going at about 70 miles an hour up the hill. The Torch Act, that's HR 168. And it's passed over to the House of Lords. So we'll see what happens over there.
Yeah.
I have some more stuff, but I think that's probably enough for today. Thank you.
Well, I want to say thank you for coming again. Like you pointed out, the districts are changing, and so here pretty quick you won't be our representative. And so I appreciate you coming for the rebate of time, because I think that shows a lot. To say, hey, we're not looking. I mean, we are looking forward, but it would be easy to say, hey, we're not going to worry about that area. Let's focus over here. And I
Yeah.
appreciate you coming down and paying attention to our issues and our situation.
We're not shut down. And the campaign people can do what they do, and we'll do what we do.
Well, thank you, Ron.
Yes, thank you.
All right, that was it.